Hello again, folks. I'll keep it more or less short because I have tons of zucchini to cook and put in the freezer. So I just wanted to talk about one thing, this you don't look sick thing. It is a stigma in a way because, well, for example, real life examples. It happened to me countless times when I was living in Brussels. Having to take the bus or the metro, which invariably were packed. Because you look young, you don't, well, at least not as old as some people do. You're not walking on crutches, you don't look, I mean, you don't look sick, basically. Whether you're ready to pass out because you've been standing too long, or the heat, or all these body smells or whatever, you may be white as a sheet, which doesn't happen to me often because I tan very easily, so 10 minutes of sun and I look like I've just been on holiday. Um, uh, you can't ask someone to let you sit down. Well, I can't anyway. I've not managed to get over this thing that, please could you let me sit down because I suffer from an invisible illness thing. Just the idea of having to go towards someone and ask them to let me sit down and have to explain the whole thing and everything, well, I'd rather do what I did lots of times, is get off the bus or the metro or whatever, go and sit down and catch the next one, which is okay when they're pretty frequent, but when it's in the slow hours in the evening and stuff, it's a bit less fun because they're invariably you're sat there waiting for half an hour before you can get the next one. So that's something that really gets to me, and that I haven't found a way of overcoming yet, because it's me, the blockage is in me. I just I accept, if you like, the label, you don't look sick, so tough it out. Um, Yesterday I drove my son Antoine to get his wisdom teeth taken out, well, two of them, because they were growing sideways, or I don't know exactly, anyway, had to have them out, which implied a 40 minutes drive and two unexpected blocks of road work, which helped the traffic a lot. And then you have to be there like 3/4 of an hour in advance so that you can check in, file the papers that you've already filed 20 times, and then just basically sit and wait, which we always do, because I think it's a question, I mean, you can't just sit there in a waiting room and grumble about doctors being late if you're late yourself, so I always try and get there a bit in advance. And anyway, since I never know if I'm going to be able to do the drive in one go, or if I'm going to have to stop and get out the car and walk because my sciatica seized up or something, it's better for me to leave a lot earlier than, which implies a lot of waiting around when the drive goes perfectly, whatever. Anyway, so there was a tiny waiting room. Well, there's chairs in a corridor basically, and there aren't many chairs, and there are papers all over the wall saying be courteous, leave your place to someone who needs it more than you, etc. And that got me thinking about this you don't look sick thing, because aside from the very heavy emotional load and mental load that it puts on our backs, knowing that people, I mean, in my immediate neighbourhoods, for example, let's say the 5-6 houses around me, there's one person who totally believes me, because she happens to know people who have fibro, so that was easy. There's the little old lady opposite who doesn't doubt me, but doubts herself, in as much as soon as she sees me outside, well, obviously if she sees me outside I'm up, so, but she deals with depression and she's understood certain things about the chronic pain and things, so she, for example, she'll phone me and she'll ask me, are you still in your bedroom or are you in the house? because you shouldn't stay in your bedroom all day. It depresses you. So, you know, she's kind and caring, but extremely annoying at the same time because very nosy. And since I sleep with my windows open, I can't draw the curtains, so she'll catch me on the street and say, "Oh, you had a bad night. I saw you got up at 1:30, 3:30, 4 o'clock or whatever." So it can be a bit annoying. But on the other hand, she's got a heart of gold, and she does. Like, for example, I don't think she really realises what she's doing, but calling to see if I'm in my bedroom or not is it's touching. Anyway, so, but aside from these two persons, everybody else thinks that I'm just using it as an excuse to ask them to leave a space in front of my house to park for the days when I really can't. I just can't go and park my car right up at the end of the street and crawl back or things like that. They think I'm just using it as an excuse to be a snotty cow, basically. Well, too bad for them. I mean, I tried to explain to them. I even wrote to one person who's particularly vindicative and bitchy a letter to explain what living with this thing is. She, whatever. It's a load to carry. Because on the one hand, well, it's pretty cool not looking sick. I mean, my mother, for example, when she was doing her chemo, every time she was sitting in the corridor with the other patients, because it was a lightly dosed chemo, because it was an incurable cancer, so they weren't trying to kill anything, so they weren't giving mega doses. It was more like a chemo to give her a bit longer with us. The nurses always used to say, "Oh, it's so uplifting to see you turn up, because you're the only one of our patients who doesn't look like you've got cancer, who doesn't look like you're so as sick as you are." And well, it seemed to cheer my mother up hearing that, because she didn't lose her hair, obviously, because they didn't give the aggressive stuff and everything. But on the other hand, it can pose a lot of problems in day-to-day life, in as much as if you don't, not that there's much courtesy and let's say good education anymore on the whole, so people giving up their seat for you or something is an extremely rare occurrence, to the point that when we were travelling with the kids, the twin, I always say the kids, but they're 18 now, but anyway, they must have been like 14 or something, on the metro to go shopping. And my son Antoine saw an old lady get on the metro. He stood up and he let her to give her his seat, and she thought he was trying to steal her handbag or something, and she was really scared of him. So I had to get up and say, "I'm his mother. I told him to give up his seat for someone who needs it more than him," and then to reassure her. Otherwise she just backed away and kind of was ready to call the cops, basically. But even so, there are still times when some people are still compassionate towards others. But when you don't look sick at all, it's terrible. Actually, it's terrible. It's something I had even debated at a time trying to lobby the government or something like that to give us, special armbands or something to say chronic pain sufferer. But the awareness campaign it would need on a national level, so that people see the armband and automatically realise that you're an invalid or handicapped person, disabled person, in the same way that when they see someone with dark glasses and a white stick, they think they're visually impaired. It would take, I don't know how many years it's going to take, but we really should, as a community of invisible illness people, think of a way of sorting that one out, because it gets me to the point of trying to avoid anywhere where there's a waiting room, public transport or whatever, which isn't always obvious to do. Anyway, that's my little take on today. I might come back later, but I have tons of zucchini to cook, so I think I'll go and do the kitchen slave instead. See you. Bye.